when when the PNDC was in office, it liberalized trade. So what actually happened was there were so many things coming into the market. Well, with hindsight, you might say it was good, it was bad. But I can understand that their hands were also tied. When the NDC came into office, they continued the same program. And all these were done not because I don't think they didn't really care about the Ghanaian people. But what really was happening was that the World Bank was dictating to them what should be done. But I find it really hard to understand that if they really meant well for Ghana, why they did accept the nonsense from the World Bank. If you can look at it from this angle, we did a program at the time. We were trying to sell batteries from South Africa, ever-ready batteries from South Africa in Ghana. But before that, Ghana had a dry cell battery manufacturing company called Ever-ready Ghana Limited, situated in Tema, the port city, the industrial port city of Tema in Ghana. This factory, as I was told, because I went there to do the inquiry, because I was supposed to be the marketing manager of that firm, that was being set up by Richard Darko, Mechanical Loyalty's son, and Harrison Tima Boaje of Rehab, the former moderator of the Presbyterian Church's son. We were friends. I mean, it just happens that we came together. Upon my inquiry at the factory site in Tema, this is what I was told. Ever-ready Ghana Limited was producing at its full capacity 24 million dry cell batteries. And that is all that it could produce in a year. Now, when the trade liberal policy came into effect, the importers in Ghana who were importing dry cell batteries from China, and that particular dry cell battery was called Tiger Head batteries. That Tiger Head battery, in comparison to the Ever-ready Ghana Limited battery, was nothing but useless. It doesn't even light up for even 10 hours continuous, and then it goes off. And you have to go and buy another cheap one. So the quality was non-existent. But because they had massive quantities as stock, and it was so cheap, preferably the rural people who use battery in Ghana opted for those ones. Reason being that Tiger Head batteries, the importers were importing to Ghana 100 million dry cell batteries in a year, okay? So when you deduct the 24 million dry cell batteries out of the 100 million dry cell batteries, the figure you get is somewhere in 76 million deficit. So it means that even if Ever-ready sells 24 million dry cell batteries, a competitor who is importing from China, far away China, was selling 100 million dry cell batteries in a year in Ghana. Now, that is not the reason why people were buying it though. I haven't given the reason. I'll give the reason as I speak. I have not digressed. The reason was the Chinese had all the 18 components that make up the dry cell batteries in China. And we all know that the Chinese were communists. So they were producing their batteries at farm gate prices. Whilst we in Ghana had only 2. We had all the 18 components in Ghana, but it was only 2 that were being exploited, that were being produced locally for the production of Ever-ready batteries in Ghana. It means that all but 2 were imported, saying 16 of the 18 components that make up a dry cell battery were imported to Ghana. Even though we had them potentially, we had them that we could have just harnessed and produced in Ghana. They were so lazy they didn't do that because it was cheaper to import them at the time. Somehow They were doing that continuously until this trade liberalized thing hit. And you know what happened? When they imported 16 components that make up the dry cell batteries in Ghana, when it gets to the port, the harbors, the customs tariffs were so high. The custom tariffs made it just impossible for them to produce batteries and sell them at a lower price than what they had to sell them to break even. Now, so all the market share that they had, they were losing it to Tigerhead, cheap batteries that were actually not of no use to the common man, and yet the common man had no option but to go and buy those ones. This is the scenario in which people found themselves. Government also didn't do anything at all to help them already by Ghana Limited. They didn't even negotiate with the customs because they needed the money so badly. Because they had also overspent. They are always putting their money in the national accounts and spending monies that were not, that didn't belong to them before. So they had to always be pressing the revenue commissioner, the exchequer, for money all the time to be doing development projects. Development projects, you and I know what they did. What they didn't do, we all know. And what they claim they did and what they didn't do. And what this present government is also claiming they have done and haven't done. So it's not a secret. It's not like I'm trying to put anything on someone. But the problem again was, once already Ghana Limited was closing down, the Chinese were flooding the market the more. Not like they wanted to even set up a factory in Ghana at all. They were actually flooding the market because on the back of trade liberalization from the World Bank, we have been told, or we've been directed by the World Bank, to open our markets to shoddy goods, useless goods from India, China, and everywhere. Europe, what they don't like, they throw it onto us. And then we foolishly take them. Now, it goes to the same thing with GTP, the textile manufacturing firm. We all know how important textiles are to our people in Africa. It's not only Ghana. It's in Nigeria, it's in Togo, it's in Benin, it's in Ivory Coast, it's in Senegal. They like textiles because the sun shines, and textiles, our culture and our traditions allow us to own textiles. GTP, Holland, you know the names. The waxes. And yet, we had not less than 5. Actually, they were, when I was young, we had Japan Textile, Kosomo Textile, GTP, and then we had Printex on the Spintex Road recently. That came. Then those companies were manufacturing wax, textiles for our women. And then eventually the Chinese came into the market too. And now they've been stealing our designs to manufacture them cheaply in China and flood our markets with it. Government isn't doing anything about it. But I'll come back with a solution which will be good for all of us if listened to.